Now, I lived in New York during 9/11, and in 2008 was the real estate debacle. But none of it really compares to what happened last year. COVID shut down the wedding industry for the most part. This was probably the most uncertain I had ever felt about my business. My name is Yumiko Fletcher. I'm the owner and creative director of Hana Floral Design, and this is how I've been surviving the pandemic. Somebody want to come out and help me with the lilac? Hana Floral Design is a wedding-specific floral design studio located in Mystic, Connecticut. 90% of our business is wedding flowers. So May to October, we do up to 70 weddings a season. I want to go start setting up cocktails, okay? I started my business in 2004. I quit my corporate job in New York City to do this. The majority of our weddings are in Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, Vermont, the general tri-state area.
Like many, the wedding industry is being disrupted by coronavirus.
I don't. Weddings on hold.
We only saw like 6 or 7 real weddings last year. We had, I think, 45 on the books for 2020, and 38 were postponed to 2021. I am alone in my little flower shop. Think of all my vendor friends in the industry. This is how I make my mortgage payments. This is how my child is going to go to college. The sales were so low, the cost of goods and supplies put me in the red for the first time. I was not ashamed to ask some of my clients for additional deposits. The worst thing someone will say is no. That's it. Got it? Perfect. By May, which was Mother's Day, we started to feel, okay, we can come back in the studio. I need a trash can, huh? And we're going to really support local and try to push local flowers. I decided to do a flower subscription that helped fill the time when we would normally be very busy with weddings. I hope you consider the flower subscription from Hana. Thank you so much for all of our June subscribers. $50 minimum for 4 weeks. And you had to commit to it, which meant we had definitive sales during those times. Some of the local businesses participated in the weekly subscription so they could have beautiful flowers in their shops. Here's your flowers. Here's your trees. Thank you. I'm just so lucky to be in an area that supports local. I also took the downtime to refresh my website, social media. Ranunculus, aren't those beautiful? And also to introduce a mentorship program for budding floral entrepreneurs, mostly for the business side. Cocktails ready. Yeah, I just walked up the first one. Now we are in full wedding mode. It's a very busy season, so we have 70 weddings, 35 of which are from 2020, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna look like they did pre-pandemic. It's like going back to school, like it's the first few days of school again. An ivory ribbon is being worked on now. I am gonna put a little bit in her bouquet. The downside to weddings starting all like 0 to 200 is that the supply chain was disrupted, and that is affecting everything across the board. Some of the flower farms had to shut down. The supplies, the vases, it's hard to explain that to the client who has waited 2 years and possibly longer for their perfect wedding day, that I might not be able to get that particular flower in for your wedding, or your vases haven't shown up yet. I'm gonna have to have a sub. To any small business owner, I would say just don't give up. Think of ways to innovate. How can you create something new while you're waiting for the core of your business to come back? I think I'm pretty darn resilient. This is my 18th year of business, and I refuse to let a pandemic stop it.
You just gotta take each day one day at a time. My philosophy on life since I've had cancer and this pandemic has been that you have to be thankful for life. No matter what you go through, if you're still here for a reason. And so while you're here, you need to do what you're here to do. Primarily, I do black hair. Our hair is different. The saying that hair is hair, it's really not. This here is a dark brown, it's not black. It's important that we do feel good about ourselves.
Good to see you. You too.
All right. We have a lot of women that have jobs and need their hair taken care of to be able to go to work. If they don't have a ride, I have no problem picking up my clients. Money and getting here is never going to be a reason why you can't get your hair done in my shop. I've had people that's really, really been good to me. So I feel like I have to give back. I had B&B Beauty Salon ever since 1976 when I inherited from my husband's aunt. As a young girl, I just always knew I wanted to do hair.
Tell me what you want.
I started when I was in high school doing my friends' hair on weekends. My daughter Catherine comes in and works on weekends. She teaches cosmetology, and because of the pandemic, she only comes in on weekends.
Everybody knows this has to be a lot of hair for this to do.
A lot of the things that I've learned, I can teach her, and then the new stuff that she's learning, then she could teach me.
But it's cute, the cut's cute.
When COVID came, it changed everything. I don't take any new clients that I don't know. I don't take walk-ins no more. Safety is my first concern. I have to think about safety first because I don't want to be the reason someone comes up with COVID. I work 1 week and then take the next week off because my clients are on an every 2-week schedule, and that has seemed to work because I've had a couple clients that have contracted the virus, but it's never been an issue at my shop because it happened on the off week. I have to watch my finances a lot better. The prices of my supplies went through the roof. Shampoos, everything. I don't keep stock the way I used to. I really kind of plan for each week. But even in the middle of all of this, I still enjoy what I do. In 2017, I had came down with cancer, but they caught it at an early stage. It was stage 1A, so I was able to have the surgery and do some preventive chemo and bounce back from that. That was the hardest thing that I had to deal with. And then when this came, those are two things that caught me off guard. But I truly enjoy my work. I don't even see myself not doing it.
I'm all right.
Most of my clients have been with me the whole time. They're like family. Jeannie comes every 3 weeks.
Good to go.
And she's been with me 25 to 30 years.
Sure that we're getting old. Yeah, the aging process.
Miss Sanders, she's 91 years old. She's been with me about 50 years. And she's here every 2 weeks to get her hair done. Every time she comes, she says, "Oh, I'm just so glad that God has kept you here to do our hair." I say, when I'm gone, he'll find somebody else to do it.
All right, Miss Sanders.
I appreciate still being here because I like what I do. There's always something to appreciate as long as you're here to appreciate it. There's always hope. There's always hope.
It was as soon as the schools stopped, you realize how much stuff kids fit in their desk. When we built the desk, it was like, immediately parents are like, oh, I'm gonna need those. That's when we decided like, okay, we might have something here. My name is David Mawhinney. I'm the founder of Franklin Emily, and this is how we're surviving the pandemic. Franklin Emily is mid-century modern aesthetic to children's furniture, handmade in Brooklyn. There were so many gaps in the market that it was a perfect gap for us to fill. People were looking to kind of get rid of the disposable furniture in their homes, so sustainable design, great materials, lifetime value, and that wouldn't gender male or female. Our pieces range from about $60 up to $660.
I'm gonna draw a cat.
You're gonna draw a cat? I knew you were gonna draw a cat. Franklin Emily is based on my kids' middle names, Desmond Franklin and Frances Emily. I started the business in 2018 when my daughter Frances would come into my wife and I's bedroom at 4, 5, 6 in the morning and would just sit on our printer and wait for us to wake up. And so I decided to build her a little chair. I had been a chef for 12 years and kind of wanted to change. We'd have all these prototypes around our living room and people would sit down, oh, where'd you buy this? And I'm like, oh, I made it. And it kind of just spiraled on from there. Pre-pandemic, as far as sales, we would have, 5 to 10 sales a week, and that was kind of it. We had been this like little Brooklyn brand, and I could do most of the fulfillment myself.
Breaking news tonight, the coronavirus forcing millions more Americans into virtual lockdown.
When the pandemic first hit, we had that thought, it was like, we might not make it. And that terrified me because we were on the higher end range of children's furniture. We doubled down and were like, all right, let's make a couple more products, see if that works, and then if it doesn't, then we kind of put it to bed. Luckily, we didn't have to.
remote learning.
One kid is doing math in that room.
Homeschooled for the very first time.
We saw the biggest uptick right when the schools closed. People really started investing in what they were putting their kids on at home. Peak pandemic, we were doing 85 plus orders a week, which then necessitated us getting a larger studio. I needed to hire people, so I went back to the restaurant world. We have 8 people now. Almost all of them are from the restaurant industry, and it was great that we were able to give them jobs again. The pieces that we offer right now, we have our chair, 2-seater sofa, a leather lounger, step stool, a desk set, and we've got the toddler tower. The biggest challenge for us at the start of COVID was just making sure that our supply chain remained intact. Everyone is getting stuff delivered now. And so that corrugated and that cardboard's got to come from somewhere. So our lead time went from maybe 2 weeks, now it's 4 plus. Now we're at a point where we're going to start looking at a fulfillment center just outside of LA. I will always look back at 2020 with mixed emotions. It was terrible with how everything was going on in the world. And then you have this little company in Brooklyn that started to thrive.
We were having a record-breaking year before the pandemic. Business was up 30%.
We were in many restaurants and retail locations, but since the pandemic, we had to scale back. We have cookies, pies, cheesecake, sweet potato pancakes, sweet potato waffles, sweet potato grits.
We sell a lot of different things.
We're kind of like the Cracker Barrel in the hood.
Yeah, we really are. And we've been supported by this neighborhood. It's the city of Detroit, but it's the West Side.
We're kind of a destination for people when they come to the city.
We've had the governors in here.
Yeah.
We had all the mayors.
Hillary Clinton when she was running for president.
Bernie Sanders was here too. We have a tremendous following. And I think that's the only reason we have survived this pandemic. The biggest challenge is that we're doing everything ourselves.
Unfortunately, we had to lay our staff off. My typical day is about 16 hours. I don't have a dishwasher, so guess what? We're the dishwasher.
We are a family-owned business, and we work together and we make it happen. And that's what I love about it, because what's more important than family?
And for a child, a black child, to see a family-run business in his community speaks volumes.
Thank you for calling Sweet Potato Sensations. How can we help you?
Sweet Potato Sensations has been around since 1987. When my husband and I were first married, I did not prepare candied sweet potatoes for Thanksgiving dinner.
To me, a meal is not complete without sweet potatoes.
Just to get my husband to quit bugging me, I said, honey, I'm gonna make you some sweet potato cookies.
You can really taste the sweet potatoes. Everybody loved it.
Our daughters have been involved in the business since they were small children. We're getting them ready to take over the business.
My biggest thing is leaving a legacy. There are a lot of restaurants that went out of business, but we're not going out of business. We're survivors, and we're going to continue to grow.
And when the pandemic hit, it was really scary to think, are we going to have a career at the end of this? I mean, we're hustlers, people who work in our industry, who work in hospitality. It's like, that's what we do, we hustle. My name is Sabrina Minks.
My name is Danielle Moder.
And we are the founders of Sunset Boulevardia.
And this is how we're surviving the pandemic.
People always ask us, what celebrities have you made drinks for? The answer is almost really like, who haven't we made a drink for? Sunset Boulevardia started in 2018. Initially, we were a bespoke cocktail company offering events with craft cocktails, and we ran the bar program at the Chateau Marmont Hotel, and we worked at the Nomad in downtown LA. It was definitely kind of a side passion project.
When COVID first hit, what were your initial thoughts?
We were
run for the hills.
Run for the hills. It really became for us just like, how are we going to survive when we see our industry crumbling all around us? And we were approached by an online events company. They needed someone to teach mixology and do cocktail sessions.
Today we're doing a built cocktail, which is
and then clients started referring us internally and reaching out to us directly. And that was when we realized, like, hey, this is something that we can actually build upon to create these cocktail kits.
Today we are hosting a virtual cocktail class with USA Today.
Cheers. Our kits include citrus, bitters or flavored bitters, house-made syrups, the alcohol. It's really everything you need to make a balanced cocktail except the ice.
Rosemary Moscow Mule. A mug you get to keep for yourself.
Some of our corporate clients have included Stanford University, Capital Bank, First National Bank, Microsoft, Dell. It's a really great way to implement team building. They haven't seen their office mates in a really long time.
Cheers. In exchange to work out of the top part of L&E Oyster Bar here, we had the idea to take over their drink program, help them sell alcohol to keep them afloat as a barter system. Nice community gesture on everyone's part.
Do you want to talk about the juice batches?
Yeah, so we also sell local juices as batches from the farmer's market, where you can either pick up your batch of juice or we can deliver it depending on where you live for a small delivery fee.
Awesome. That's the best. All right.
We're easily making like 5 times as much as we were on a regular basis compared to 2018 and 2019. It's consistent now.
That our business is thriving during a crisis just is an odd sensation.
It's good advice to really just
listen to what people are wanting and needing and try to provide it.
We might be over saying go back to normal, but whatever that new normal is, I do think that there is definitely going to be an evolving and continued space for online classes and gifting and kits.
Nothing's going to replace the being in person at a bar, but I think they could exist in a parallel way.
Who would have known that drive-ins would become cool again in 2020? We are the social distancing entertainment place to be. My name is Blake Smith. I'm the owner of the Admiral Twin Drive-In in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Starlight Drive-In in Wichita, Kansas, and this is how we are surviving the pandemic.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
The Admiral Twin was built in 1951. It's your typical mom and pop operation. They've been here so long. People grew up going to these drive-ins. Now they're bringing their kids here.
Okay, right over here to the left.
I've been in the business basically my whole life. In the past, it's generally just been about movies. First run movie. We didn't have as many of those this year.
Now virtually all film and TV production has grinded to a halt.
More than 200,000 jobs were lost in the motion picture and sound recording industries in April alone.
Basically, Hollywood closed everything down. So generally, my season would have been over. If that would have been a typical year, it would have been a real disaster for me. We were able to live on retro movies. This year, due to the pandemic, we were able to do fundraisers, concerts. We were able to have church out here.
You be in your car worshiping God.
I want more of you, God.
A filmed stage production of A Christmas Carol. The election for a new mayor. Had his watch party out here, the Democratic watch party for when Biden accepted the nomination.
The Admiral Twin Drive-In hosting a naturalization ceremony this morning.
So it gave us a lot more opportunity to open up and be here for the community. It kept our name out there. People were hearing our name a lot more. That did change our business model for this year. So from that standpoint, that was a very good thing.
First time ever in a drive-through.
It was nice to have this outlet.
We're so happy to be here.
We were probably up 25-30% over the year before, and even being closed 2 months. I'm a little surprised that people kept coming out, but it just absolutely shows you that they're tired of sitting in front of the TV or just sitting in the house. But how many years can you do that? Can we do a whole nother year of retro movies? I don't know that we can. I think in years past, when people would have called me to do some things, I might have said, I don't know if that'd bring people out or not. This year, I kind of took all comers. The lesson I learned would be to listen to the public more, just being open-minded about trying to do as many different things as we possibly can, and it turned out great.
Once the pandemic hit, people started to really call for meat. It was chaos. You couldn't get anything from the processors. They had huge backs of orders. The shortage in the grocery stores pushed people to me. So we switched our model. My name is Wayne Swanson. I'm the owner of Swanson Family Farm, and this is how I'm surviving the pandemic. Swanson Family Farm raises grass-based, pasture-based protein. We raise grass-fed beef, lamb, and pork. Our animals only have one bad day in their life, and that's their last.
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm sorry I missed you earlier. 20 pounds? Before the pandemic, I was basically on the Chitlin circuit of farmers markets. I would go anywhere that I could get a table and try my best to sell the product. I may sell 10 cows in October, 0 cows in November. It wasn't consistent, it was all over the place.
3 major plants have been forced closed.
Thousands of workers sick.
Shoppers can expect to see some products temporarily out of stock.
It was hard to fill orders. I couldn't get it processed. The first crop of 5 cows, once the processors opened up, we lost them. They hung too long. They became beef jerky. I probably did close to $10,000 in refunds. I had to go on my goodwill and say, hey, I need you to trust me, and then I'm going to deliver for you. The pandemic caused our sales to basically skyrocket. The clients were calling me asking to fill freezers, so we switched our model. You had to buy the whole carcass, half of the carcass, or a quarter of the carcass. And it was just better. I didn't have to keep storage. I didn't have to worry about people only wanting the gourmet cuts. And we started doing the delivery to your residence, included in the price.
I started realizing the difference between the quality of what I was buying from him and what I was getting out of the grocery store.
See you later.
He expands kind of the cuts of meats that we try.
Kids are bloody.
That's because it's fresh, sweetheart. We had to go and buy an extra standing freezer.
We're spending less because we stopped going to market. Fuel costs are down. I don't have to pay help. I'm not running around, and we're able to keep more of what we earn. And it's become a bit of a boutique clientele. We should be at about 1,000 consistent clients. And keep in mind, you're not buying from us every week. You're buying maybe once a year or once every 6 months. Half of my phone calls have literally been, I answer the phone, I say, thank you for calling Swanson Family Farm. And the next question is this a black-owned farm?
Come on, let's go.
African Americans are looking for us because we're a black-owned farm. Is getting a chance to grow. I realized, okay, well, my demand is up. I probably am not going to buy more land presently, but if I help people get started and I can put 2-3 cows on their property, I can be a benefit to the new farmer, and I can charge people for consulting. So that added another revenue stream. There's absolutely no reason for you to step in all the landmines I stepped into. My biggest challenge is supply. We're not set up to supply everyone. I'm a sustainability guy, so we keep a low density. So I've been sending people to other farms. I've helped people find their local me in Michigan, Minnesota, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, California, Florida, because for sustainability to work, you have to have local. Looking back on this past pandemic year, it was an absolute blessing for my business.
Like every other performer, I was on tour in March of 2020 and it all shut down. I had 90 shows, all gone, bye-bye.
This is the first time I'm back in a theater since before COVID.
I'm relieved to be performing again. I'm a little bit nervous.
We found ways to present events in unique and different ways. In many ways, we had more Broadway than Broadway. The Leeds Center is Nebraska's performing arts center. We're one of the leading venues presenting the greatest artists in the world. In a normal season, the Leeds Center has as many as 100 performances. Beyond our season of curated performances, we have several hundred other programs. When the pandemic hit, we were celebrating our 30th anniversary season. We immediately started evaluating how can we reopen, how can we continue to fulfill our mission. Our first event was canceled on March 13th of 2020, and 2 weeks after we launched our first of many initiatives to continue to bring the arts to the community, Lead Live, and it featured online free programs for the community. Learning how to go virtual and broadcast programs was definitely a learning experience. We're a theater, we're not a broadcast TV station. We definitely had some inconsistent broadcasts. We were able to secure a private grant to purchase a 5-camera high-definition system. The second program that we launched was a program called Music on the Move. And this brought local musicians into neighborhoods across Lincoln, Nebraska. Most performing arts camps in 2020 were canceled. And we were really thankful that we were able to find a way to pivot and to have our programs virtually. And then in July, we reopened the Leeds Center. We were the first major university performing arts center in the nation to reopen. We had come up with a great plan based on CDC guidelines, no concessions, no intermissions, social distancing, sanitizing every surface. We were inventing how to safely reopen. There wasn't a manual available. We've had dozens of artists come to the Leeds Center from all over the nation, as well as thousands and thousands of patrons safely visit.
It's the first time that I've seen my band in a year. It's the first time that I've been in a theatre in a year. It's the first time that I will see an audience in a year. Luckily, there's an element that it's like riding a bike. I got everyone tested and flew everybody in to Lincoln. Everyone goes back home straight after these shows.
It feels great to be back on stage.
This is really the first time I've been in front of a large audience in the past year.
We're not normally a regular classroom for classes like chemistry, but during the pandemic, Monday through Friday, we had classes in our theater as the largest classroom on campus. Also the most comfortable. The safety protocols that we were able to identify early on in the process has enabled us to do what we've been able to do. I've been in the arts administration business since 1990, and I've never faced a more challenging financial situation. Our ticket sales have been reduced by 95%. Ticket sales cover normally half of our budget. Primarily, we've been able to find financial stability through donations, corporate support, and grants. We had staffing reductions of 30%, and had we not kept having programs, that would have been a much higher percentage. We think that the broadcasting that we've learned to do now, we will be using in the future. With broadcasting, people from anywhere can enjoy the Leeds Center for Performing Arts. People at home that can't come to the theater, people in rural areas. We hope that we're able to share the information with many theaters across the nation of how we've been able to operate safely so that we can bring the arts not only to the people of Nebraska, but back to audiences all across the nation.
That first beginning of the pandemic was just panic. We planned on shutting the business down, like everybody. We thought we had to. I didn't see a viable way forward without just losing the business because we spent so much in labor. We have definitely changed. We're not the same place we were beforehand, but we're thriving. Alrighty, guess what today is?
Friday.
Pie Day. How'd you know? What I've always wanted to do is open my own bakery. That's been my lifelong goal. This is our neighborhood. This is where we live. We live 3 blocks from here. We wanted to put in what we wanted to see in the neighborhood. I wanted it to be a neighborhood spot. I wanted it to be a community meeting place, which it definitely has become. I never thought it would be this big, though. I'm surprised at how much we've grown.
We're initially concerned that, would the neighborhood sustain it? How can you have somebody coming every day eating cakes? So we're not just cakes, we're pastries or coffees, or we do sandwiches and things that kind of make it a place that people do come back to every day. We're not tourist reliant. You can't throw a rock in this block without hitting an artist or a musician. For years we did art shows and would change the art every month and incorporate art from the neighborhood artists. And we have a piano inside. And we've had some really great players come play the piano. Minds would be blown from people just having a cup of coffee and having a world-class pianist coming in and where did that come from? We do get back to the community in that voter registration drives. We reward kids in school with show us your report card and here's a pedophore.
Whether it's knowing our customers or giving the dogs bacon, supporting and caring about our team members, all of it creates community.
When the pandemic came,
we didn't even know how to pivot in the beginning. It's just panic.
We're an indoor business. We had maybe 10 or 12 tables and folks would come and writers would sit and write and then it was an internet cafe and people would just hang out.
The pandemic evolved and we just kept evolving with it. Everyone was so starved for community and for human contact. When you came up, you saw tables spaced out, but full of people that you know. You can come and see your neighbors safely. And I think that really just helped people's mental health a lot.
We've had to expand our production area. Sadly, we can't allow people inside, but we've made it as comfortable as we can. on the outside with, a little misting system and outdoor speakers and umbrellas and things.
It was hard questioning whether you're making good decisions. The goal is to create a safe place, to keep people employed, but any decision we make could end it. It's hard work, it's hard, but what we've built is everything we could dream of, so it's worth it. Community is always worth it.
One of our neighbors, a bar owner down the street, had a fire in their house. They also live in the neighborhood, and they're having a fundraiser. So we have a big block party planned and a brass band, and we're now planning to coordinate our time so that we can have a big second line parade and a procession down to the corner bar to their fundraiser. The city, we work as a community. It's just what you do. There are many folks that come to New Orleans and have this sense of like, oh, I love New Orleans and I'm just gonna live here. But unless you get back to it, she's a living, breathing thing, and she will spit you out and let you know, slow your roll, come correct. Because the city, I really do believe, chooses you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos from USA Today to stay up to date with all the latest news.